Hey guys, this will be another video on how aggregate supply side policies can affect the economic goals. So in this video we're going to look at how aggregate supply policies impacts the goal of full employment. Now this will be a very broad video, or broad lecture on full employment. So we won't go into much depth of the different types of aggregate supply policies that can be used to affect this goal or to improve this goal. But we're just going to look at aggregate supply policies as a very broad category of government policy that can be implemented to help achieve full employment. Now, as we know, full employment is achieved when there is no cyclical unemployment. So full employment is achieved when there is no cyclical unemployment. And we've also agreed to that there may be around 5% natural unemployment that may be unavoidable. So that may be unavoidable. So natural unemployment relates to seasonal changes, structural changes, or even hardcore examples of unemployment. So where there is actually a mismatch between the skills of the workers and the labour force. Okay, so aggregate supply policies include immigration policy, environmental policy, budgetary, aggregate supply policy, and finally macroeconomic reform in no particular order whatsoever. So all these different types of policies actually help to improve our supply side condition so that we see that the aggregate supply line, we can show this in two different types of graphs. One with the supply curve here shifts to the right, AS1 shifts to AS2, and here when the long run aggregate supply curve here again shifts to the right, long run aggregate supply 2. So in both cases it shows that the productive capacity in the economy has actually increased. So what this means for employment is that it can either affect it in the short run or in the long run. And we're going to look at both impacts. So in the short run, many of these aggregate supply policies try to make businesses more efficient. And efficiency leads to cost cutting. Because businesses are entering markets which have become deregulated or become more competitive, it means they are forced to become more efficient. And when they're more efficient, they have fewer costs, so that they could price their goods and services more competitively in the marketplace, so that consumers would buy them. And this is all because of higher rates of competition, or higher levels of competition. So when they cut their costs, this means the largest cost or the easiest cost to cut in the current time framework is labor. And so that means structural unemployment may rise in the short run. So structural unemployment in the form of efficiency promoting cost cutting procedures may rise in the short run. This is maybe bad for the goal of full employment in the short run. So I'm just going to put a cross next to the short run. So short run may be bad. However, in the long run, what this means is only the most efficient firms will survive. And when the most efficient firms survive, this means profits will be good and steady. So the volatility of profits due to competition or very volatile rates of labor would tend to decrease because of this idea that only the most efficient firm survives in the market. And so when there is a more steady rate of profit, this means that fewer firms will shut down. So say industries such as retail and manufacturing would actually disappear from Australia because we are proven less effective or less comparatively advantageous compared to the rest of the world. Whereas industries such as education or mining, they would be very, very much benefited by this efficiency promoting cost cutting procedures, that they would experience fewer shutdowns in firms and even higher profits. And so because these firms are less likely to experience shutdowns, they will tend to expand. And when they tend to expand, this means that there are greater job vacancies. So this would lead to job vacancies. This is very much in the long term. So as a result, with more job vacancies and more jobs created, in the long run, this will be beneficial for employment because more people will tend to move from one industry to another as they develop or as they gain more skills, particularly through education reforms as part of this microeconomic reform procedure implemented by the government. They would develop more skills, more qualifications in order to work in these newly created jobs. And when they have the qualifications met to actually work in these jobs, then therefore the structurally unemployed, the naturally unemployed rate would actually decrease. And so at the moment, this natural unemployment rate the government has agreed to is around 5%. This may actually decrease, possibly to even 4%, and possibly to even 3% of the labour force. And so in the long run, when our firms become more productive and more efficient, we can see that full employment in the long run can be achieved.